we can navigate between the various pages, page 1 and page 2. Where's the page 2? Okay. And we would like to be able to have hyperlinks that would allow us to navigate right to one or the other. So let's create a couple of hyperlinks. Right. So in the router, we can now use another element that is implemented by the library called link. Right. And link behaves just like a hyperlink. Right. Actually, underneath, they're rendered as just plain old hyperlinks. Actually, you could just use plain old hyperlinks. Okay. Now, the link component does add a few other behaviors that are not available in just plain links, right? And plain hyperlinks. So, I suggest you get used to just using the higher level link. All right. So here, this link, you can say that the following URL, right? This behaves just like the href, right? So href and then page 1 is pointing to page 1 if I click on page 1, right? And then I have another link for page 2. Oops, copy and page 2. Right. So now I have these hyperlinks, and it allows you to navigate between the two. Right. Yes.
Wouldn't it make more sense to wrap the router in a link and like reverse the name in it?
What do you mean? So this could live anywhere. You could put this anywhere you want. Oh, sure. We could have, say, copy this, right, and go to page 1 and create a hyperlink as well here, right? Div. Right. And so once you're in page 1, you click on page 2, you can navigate to page 2. Certainly, of course. Yep. Yes.
So that doesn't actually change the URL though, right? It doesn't reroute you.
Say again.
When you click on those links, like page 1, page 2.
Yeah. Underneath, if you look at the actual implementation, they're actually hyperlinks.
Okay. Couldn't tell if the URL is changing or not. But...
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, you can't tell? Why is it not? There we go. There we go. So, page 2, page 1. Yep, it's changing. All right, everybody still good? All right. So oftentimes you want to be able to navigate and pass arguments to it, right? To wherever you're going, right? So for instance, you might want when I'm navigating from page 1 to page 2, I might want to pass an argument. Maybe I want to pass whatever, something at the that goes along with it, right? Notice that if I press on hello, notice that I'm still navigating to page 2, even though the URL doesn't quite match, right? So by default, the pattern matching is partial. It does a partial pattern matches. Looks for page 2, anywhere in the URL. Right? If you want to, if instead you want to do something more exact, and you want to say that, well, no, not just because it's just page 2, right? I want something more exact, right? Then you can turn that on. You can say path. You can say exact equal true. That means that it has to match exactly page 2, right, for you to be able to display page 2, right? So now if I go to page 1, I'm in page 1. If I go to page 2, that's correct. But if it's anything else, notice that this doesn't match page 1, and it doesn't match page 2 either. So it doesn't display any of the two. Make sense? But maybe I do want to pattern match page 2 and pass some information where you show page 2 plus any information that I might pass you as an argument as part of the URL. Right? So to do that, we can go back and configure that. Meaning, I want to go to page 2, and then anything that follows page 2, I like to for you to grab it as if it were some argument, some element, right? So to do that, we can put a placeholder. We could put a placeholder and give it a name, a specific name, right? What the framework is going to do is that it's now page 2 will work, right? Note if I refresh, it didn't work. Wait, what? Let's refresh. Page 2. Wait, did I page 2? Oh no, not link. I'm sorry, not in the link. in the route. Yeah, this is where I declare the path, right? The pattern, right? So okay, now I'm at page 2, even though I have anything out here, right? So now I can type whatever, right? I'm still in page 2, right? So what the framework does is that it navigates, not only navigates, but it also parses the URL, takes that piece at the last portion of the URL, and it associates it to a variable message, whatever you call that placeholder. Or notice the colon, right? By colon, I'm saying that this is a placeholder, right? So whatever matches after the page 2, please make it available to me in a variable called message, right? And then give it to me, pass it on to me, right? And then I'll be able to grab it, right? So how do I grab it? How do I grab this message? Well, whenever I navigate to the component, it passes me a couple of properties along the way. It passes me quite a few properties, properties that the framework generates, right? In those properties, I can find the variable message, whatever it's tied to. So in page 2, I can look at some of the properties that are passed to me. Right? One of those properties is called the match property, right? And the match property tells me everything that I need to know about how did the matching occur. We try to pattern match the URL against this pattern over here, right? So match, describes the result of that match. Okay. One of the things that inside of the match is a params map. It's a map that if you have a whole bunch of placeholders, you can have any number of placeholders, a whole number of placeholders. Every time you have a placeholder, right, it'll parse the URL, right, and it pattern matches those placeholders, right, and it makes them available in that map, right, and it gives you the values. So let's grab that at least that one message. That one message, we can grab that, and it's the match, and then I can display here match dot params dot, and then whatever name the key, right, which I believe I called it message. Okay, I called it message. This whatever I called it here. Right. So now notice that it's whatever I type as an argument here. If I say hello, right, it's being passed to the child, to the other component. See that, right? Or hello, or whatever, goodbye. Right, it's being passed to the other parameter. Make sense, right? One more thing. Sometimes once you navigate to page 2, in page 1, we navigated back to page 2 using a hyperlink. Now, a hyperlink is a blind navigation, meaning you click on the hyperlink and you're just going to go, right, to whatever that content is, whatever that's mapped to, yes? Sometimes you need to run some logic and say, wait a minute, before I go, maybe I need to do something. Say, I'm logging in, right? Login usually would navigate you to a profile page, yes? But I don't want to blindly navigate to the profile page, yes? So a hyperlink would not do. Instead, I would like to run some logic, maybe go out to the server, right? Pass in the username and password, it comes back whether that username exists. And when that user is okay, right, I then say, okay, now I'll let you navigate to somewhere else, yes? So how do we do that? So let's demo that by you going in page 2. In page 2, notice that we can't navigate away from page 2. So let's add here a button. Let's navigate away. We'll create a button here, and we'll call this page 1. We want to navigate to page 1 once we're in page 2. Right now, it's not doing anything. Right? Obviously, so how do we navigate programmatically, not blindly? Programmatic meaning how do we run an algorithm, and then at the end of that algorithm, navigate? How do we do that? Well, we can do that by using another property that the router framework sends me, right? And that other property is the history. History represents the browser history, right? As we type things in the URL, right, and we navigate to this page or that other page, right? The browser keeps track of all that history. That's what allows us to go back or forward, right? In this running log of places that we've been. Yes. So we can manipulate that history, right? We can move forward. We can by changing and pushing things onto the history, we can navigate any way we want. So we can say that on click, I want to manipulate that history. I can say history dot push. I can push and navigate anywhere else I want. I can say push slash page 1, right? Push page 1. So now if I click on page 1, right, it navigates to page 1. But I did it programmatically as opposed to blindly, right? This history could be inside of an if statement, right? It could be inside of a then, right? That comes back from some server, yes, right? So and depending on the result, I decide to log in to navigate or not. Make sense? See the difference? All right, excellent.